Good day. This is Philip Amerson again. We welcome you to Be and Do podcast, a part of the Belonging Exchange, and we're delighted to continue conversations with Jerre Stead. Jerre is remarkable friend of mine. I'm so fortunate to have had him not only as a friend but a mentor. And one of the things that I have so appreciated has been Jerre and Mary Joy, his spouse, their generosity in so many areas. They they're known for their philanthropy. I wouldn't begin to know all the places that you continue to touch and offer a support. And I'm wondering, Jerre, if you could share a bit about how that got started. I know in graduate school you lived in a trailer, or in
No, I'm
undergrad
happy.
school.
I'm
And
happy to do that, Phil.
how did
Yeah,
you go from being just a regular old guy to being someone who's known for your generosity?
we, we started dating. Mary Jo and I did when we were 15. Got married the day before Mary Joy turned 19, 2 weeks before I turned 19. We
Wow.
lived in a. You're right, Phil. We lived in a 44 by 10-foot trailer uh, for 3 years, 3.5 years. Both of our sons were born at the University of Iowa. We lived on $2,900 a year.
Wow.
I worked 40 hours a week plus athletics and plus uh, carried always at least 18 hours so I could get everything done quicker. And I worked during the summer. I ran survey crews for the county engineer, and during the school year I would do 40 hours a week of drafting. And that was in the days when if you made a mistake with your oilskin paper, you started over. Not a You didn't want to make a mistake. So that it was always so fun because uh, we we tithed when we because we both grew up very involved. Mary Joy's great grandfather was a missionary in India for 42 years. I had two uncles, a great uncle and an uncle that Phil will remember graduated from Garrett. Always, and my mom and dad and grandparents, as were Mary Joy's, very, very blessed to grow up in a wonderful environment. So we tithe, not quite 10%, but we gave $250 a year to the Iowa City Methodist Church.
Hmm.
And Dr. Dunnington was the pastor. We also, we always think of the joy of giving is you do it with your time, your talent, and your treasure, all three. So our treasure was 250 a year. Our time and talent. Mary Joy sang in the choir, wonderful talent, great choir, and I taught Sunday school, uh, and then the two of us later, when we had both boys at church, we led the young kids, the tiny kids, with the nurseries, and that. So we always thought time, talent, and treasure. And we said way back then that how good it felt. And uh, I'll jump backwards for one other thing, just for a second to go forward. When I was growing up, I had a paper out when I turned 10. I actually had it before I turned 10, but uh, at a few months. And my nana, my mom's mom, was real clear with what I did with the money. A third went to savings, a third went to the church, and a third I could do whatever I wanted of
Wow.
the profits I made. So that's the way I grew up and thinking about it. And I can remember when we graduated from University of Iowa together and started at $6,780 a year. And it was like eureka. I mean, and we more than tithed then. Uh, and we always talked a lot, Mary Jo and I, and I can remember when Honeywell moved us from our first job in Minneapolis to Chicago, first jobs, I should say, to Chicago. We got there. I was making $1,000 a month, and we said we're going to be able to help change the world if we keep on this pace of giving, because we were then giving 1,200 a year, actually a little better than that. And we said, let's think through the way we could do that best. How could we focus our giving? Because we felt so blessed. So we set out way back then, this would be 1968, 69. Uh, we wanted to help build great leaders, leaders in business, leaders in research, leaders in education, and leaders in the church. So those were where we always focused the funding. And as that continued over the years, and we were blessed a million times over, Phil, we were able to expand more and more. And so not only were we building those leaders, because that's the way, and take as an example, uh, helping create great pastors or great, excuse me, great people that teach religion. You touch more people than you'll ever touch anyplace else because they'll carry that forward. So the goal always was to maximize it. So those were the four. Across those, we focused on three other efforts. One was Alzheimer's. My mom and aunt had Alzheimer's. The more involved we got with Alzheimer's, the more we realized that we had to bend that curve. We had to find a prevention. We had to prepare the families to be able to manage this disease. The second one was child obesity, because we realized from studies that we'd seen, the more obese problems there were, the more other health issues there were. And then the third one was mental illness. So those three over the years, if you think about giving in all these four areas, we also crossed those four areas with those three particular issues. Uh, it's interesting right now. We've set up an organization called SIV, Stead Innovation Ventures, and we're supporting 12 startups. Uh, and from those startups, we're hoping that as we make progress and exit those, we'll put it into the Stead Foundation that sits under SIV. And that foundation is set up so that long after Mary Joy and I are gone, we continue to create with different efforts those great leaders like in those four areas. Uh, we've had an interesting discussion recently, Mary Joy and I and our sons. We think we should add a fifth group, government. Uh, and so that's going to be the fifth category. That's why we're involved with things like Interfaith America, etc. How do we bring people together, getting them to understand it's okay to disagree, but let's do it in a civil way where we come out for the best purpose. And the way we're doing that, Phil, I say, I don't want a red and blue country of America, United States. We want a red, white, and blue country.
There you are.
Back to the flag.
Right.
And so that's been fun with the shift we're now making. We've been blessed, and by the way, I get teased a lot because when I see something I really like, I deviate entirely from the goals and give them money anyway. But and Mary Joy does too.
Yeah. Well, one of the things when you talk about time, talent, and treasure, I've appreciated is that you not only give financially, but you're engaged. You've taken me with you to places that I otherwise would not have known about, that address questions of people without shelter or mental illness. issues of healthcare. Uh, why do you do that? You could just write a check.
Because I think it's a great question. What we always did, Phil, I always said, and you'll remember this, I'm investing, I'm not giving. And so let's set goals of what and how we're going to measure those goals and the progress. And 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 the only way I would never ask, like when you were running the leading as president of Garrett, incredible time in Garrett's history. What a job you and Elaine did. But I always wanted to be your partner with that. So I would never say, here's the goals, you got to go do them. It was, here's the goals and here's my time and talent to support your time and talent. And then we'd report annually on the performance against those goals. That's the joy of giving.
Yeah. So, where do you see? Actually, there was an article in the New York Times today that was a pleasant surprise and sort of confirmed what I have been thinking. I think the Wall Street Journal may have picked it up as well, that actually people are going back to church. It's a boomlet, it may not last, but I think there is a hunger for people to find a way to be involved in life that has meaning and a sense of belonging. Um, I so appreciate your faithful involvement in congregations wherever you've been.
We've belonged to 18 uh, uh, because we moved 23 times over the years and been very active in each of them. It's an honor to be part of them. And it's so, and you're right, Phil, we're watching it, we're seeing it here. The one thing out of COVID, and you and I've talked about this, it did change the ability to go to church. Uh, and as you and I both do, we'll watch one of the churches that we love, the pastor in Denver.
Yep.
Mary Joy and I will personally go to the church here in Scottsdale, and I may tune in with my friend Adam Hamilton in Kansas City when we get home from church. And it's such a blessing to do that. But it's no question. And then in between, uh, when we're up in our Prescott, uh, uh, where we have the golf club, of course, and when we're up there, there's a wonderful Methodist church that we're very active in, and it's so fun to see the increase. And I'm so hopeful right now. If you remember, I started with Adam Hamilton 20 years ago, uh, the bringing the 100 largest Methodist church pastors together uh, to every other year. We did it last year, as you remember. Well, as a guest there, uh, it was, and it continues to be a great way to share all the things that can make that faith based leadership better. And it's so gratifying to me, and I know you, to see that. I did see the article, and it's hopeful for me.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you know is our belonging exchange work is beginning to anticipate, and this is related to what you meant, what you spoke of as the fifth area of government. We're working to bring pastors together, but also to encourage them and find ways to bring civic leaders, whether it's school board uh, uh, superintendent or mayor or city council, with the pastors, so that there's that linkage of faith reality with their civic life. A friend of mine and I have been thinking a lot. We're going to do a little writing about it. And we're thinking of congregations as being, like in nature, there are keystone species that hold things together, or there is in the ocean, there are blue carbon
Yeah,
factors. And I'm more and more convinced that faith communities are keystone elements that help hold civic life together. So,
I like
um,
that a lot, Phil.
Well, we're going to keep dreaming about it, and we may even write a book. We'll,
That'd
I'll
be
ask
great.
for it, but thank you, Jerry Stead, for this time. What a gift it is to know you and to continue to learn from you. And again, I encourage our audience to share these couple of interviews with Jerre Stead, a remarkable man and a dear friend. God bless.
You too, Phil. So I'm having a very interesting week. I've, Phil, as you know, over the years, I've always tried to pull pieces together that would make one and one equal four. It's going on as we speak today. Uh, there's a wonderful lady that I've been supporting her ECHO program for, I think, 25 years. And she's just an amazing person out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And she takes students, teaches students, but takes them into Germany and other parts of Europe every year. The whole purpose was never forget the Holocaust.
Right.
And it's an amazing thing that Stephanie's wonderful. She's actually staying here. A friend of mine, Steve Hilton, who was former CEO of Meritage Homes and was one of the first investors with me when I started the Banner Alzheimer's Association 20 years ago, is now, Steve is building a Holocaust education center here in Phoenix.
Wow.
So I'm putting them together today. It's just, it's so exciting to see because uh, they would never have met, and I was able to put them together. Uh, we've given to the the place that Steve's building in honor of Stephanie. There'll be a room there that talks about all the books she has and the people she's worked with uh, of, about the Holocaust. And it's a perfect, Steve's so excited because it's a perfect fit for him. And because of it, I'm able to put truly heartfelt. I'm so eager they'll meet at 4 today. We'll spend 2 to 3 hours together. I try to, find things like that. This is a very special one because it's going to, bringing those two together will make a huge difference in something that's so critical for our future. It's a good one.